So, like we talked about, like you talked about last year in 7th grade, the distributive property is basically just allowing us to multiply a term outside of some parentheses by each and every term on the inside of the parentheses, right? We're distributing that outside number to everyone on the inside of the parentheses, right? So if we have something like 2 times the quantity of 1 plus 3, we can look at this in one of 2 ways. Let's look at the first way, and that's the PEMDAS way. So we're going to look at solving this using PEMDAS, which we're all familiar with, and then we're going to look at solving this using the distributive property. So, we've got 2 times 1 plus 3. This is just a little refresher on what the distributive property is going to look like. And what's the P stand for in PEMDAS? What's our first step in solving something PEMDAS? Jocelyn? Parentheses, right? So we're going to take what's inside these parentheses, and we're going to solve that. What are we going to get? 1 plus 3? It's going to be 4, right? So now we have 2 times 4. What's that going to be equal to? 8, right? Not too bad. Give me a thumbs up if you're following so far. Good. Now let's see the same expression. 2 times 1 plus 3. And let's distribute. Here's how we're going to represent distributing. Distributing. I don't know. That's a really hard word to say. We're going to draw a little arrow from the 2 and point it at the 3. And we're going to draw a little arrow from the 2 pointing at the 1. Right? Does this look familiar to anyone now? Yeah? Okay, good. So what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to look like 2. Okay, let's focus up, please, in the back. Yeah, 2 times 1 plus 2 times 3. If you take a look at our initial definition on these notes, the first term in that definition is we're multiplying. So whenever we distribute something, please make sure you are multiplying every time. How many terms do we have inside the parentheses here? How many total terms do we have in there? 2, right? We've got a constant of 1 and a constant of 3. We also have 1 term on the outside of the parentheses. So we're going to multiply that outside number by each of the 2 terms on the inside. That's what we did right here. What's that going to give us? What is 2 times 1? 2. And then what's 2 times 3? What's 2 times 3, folks? 6, right? Let's solve that one more time. 2 plus 6 gives us 8. Is that the same number we got using PEMDAS? Yeah, it sure is. It's a little bit more work, it looks like, with the distributive property, right? But that's because this is just a little example. We're not going to have all constants on the inside of our parentheses. We're going to have variable terms. So we're not going to be able to simplify to a nice, neat number. We're going to have more of an expression at the end as a result. Okay, let's take a look at our first example with a variable term. Let's go example A. Yes. Yes. And example A is going to be 2 times x plus 3. Can someone tell me real quick, is this an expression or an equation?
Expression.
Expression? That was pretty confident. Why do you say expression?
Why did you say expression? No, I got it.
No, you want to go for it? Why do we know this is an expression? No equal sign, right? There's no equal sign. It's just an expression. So we're not solving for anything. We're just simplifying. That's the big difference. You simplify expressions, but you solve equations. Okay, just a quick little vocab review for you. So, what number do we have on the outside of our parentheses? 2. How many terms do we have inside the parentheses? 2. We got 2 terms in here. We got x and we got 3. So when we distribute, we're going to multiply this 2 times the 3, and we're going to multiply the 2 times the x. So it'll be 2 times x plus 2 times 3. So this setup's going to be exactly the same for each and every problem. Now, like I keep saying, as you go through this work, you're going to get more comfortable with it. You may be able to see that, oh, this is going to be 2x plus 6. That's fine. Once you get a little more comfortable on the worksheet is a little bit longer than we're used to, but only by a couple problems. It'll be all right. Once you get comfortable with it, you can kind of skip this step and then just break into multiplying and writing it out. Yeah, Mason. Yeah, when Jocelyn comes back. I think she's still out. Yeah, when she comes back. So let's go ahead and simplify this. What is 2 times x going to give us? 2x, right? Can't do anything with it. It's just going to be 2x. And then what's 2 times 3 going to give us? 6, right? There we go. We successfully distributed that 2 to each term in our expression. Remember, when we're simplifying expressions, we're not looking for like an x equals blank because there's no equal sign at all, right? This equal sign is more just this is the next step. That's usually when I do an arrow with the equal sign, but let's take a look at example B real quick. Example B, let's go. Let's do something like this. Negative, parentheses, x minus 2. Looks a little weird, right? Because I don't see a number on the outside of our parentheses. What number's really outside our parentheses here? Negative 1, right? Negative 1 times x minus 2. So we're going to distribute that negative 1 to the negative 2 and to the x. It'll look like this. Negative 1 times x Now here's where things get a little bit dicey. The minus sign. Now we can do two things here. We can either, actually, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the minus sign there. We're going to write out our negative 1 again. And then inside the parentheses is just going to be 2. Okay, we left the negative on the outside. We kept that 2 on the inside. The reason why we want to do this is because it perfectly matches up with what we did in example A. We had a plus and a 3. The plus stayed in the middle, and the 3 went in the parentheses. Here we have a minus 2. The minus stayed in the middle, and the 2 went into the parentheses. Give me a thumbs up if you're seeing what I'm saying there. Okay, a couple people. Okay, because now we see we got 2 minus signs in here. What are those going to form? We know that. A plus sign, right? These are going to form a plus sign. Ooh, you can't really see that. There you go. Those form a plus sign. What's negative 1 times x going to be? Negative 1x. We can just call it negative x. And then we're going to plus. We've got a plus in here now. And what's 1 times 2? 2, right? So our simplified expression is negative x plus 2. When we multiply something by 1, does it change what we have? No, it stays the same, right? So when we multiply something by negative 1, what we have actually stays the same. The only thing that changes is our signs. See how up top in the very beginning x was positive and 2 was negative?
Yes.
Now at the end, x is negative and 2 is positive. Same variable, same number, or constant, but the signs flipped around. So when you see a negative number out in front like that, make sure you know it's negative 1, and just flip the signs around. Okay, let's do an actual equation now. Expressions are nice, but that's not going to be what we're doing on the worksheet. So let's do an actual equation here. Let's do 2 times x plus 4 equals 6. Same exact procedure that we just did in examples A and B, except once we get our simplified expression, then we're going to go ahead and solve for x, because we have an equal sign, right? So let's distribute this 2. It's going to go multiply by the 4, and it's going to multiply by the x. So we'll have 2 times x plus 2 times 4 equals 6. And in reality, I should have drawn a line through my equal sign. My bad. It's a little curved this time around, but that's okay. You get the point. It's easy to forget. That's why I keep saying, got to draw the line. Let's simplify the left. 2 times x, what's that going to be? 2x. And 2 times 4, that's going to be what? 8, right? Equals 6 stays the same. Now we have a nice, neat 2-step equation, just like we talked about on Monday with our start of this unit. So we're going to have to do some inverse operations. What's the first inverse operation that we want to perform here? We're going to minus 8 from both sides. Draw our line underneath. What's 8 minus 8 going to be? 0, right? They cancel out. And then 6 minus 8 gives us what? Negative 2. 2x on the far left stays the same. Final step. What do we have to do?
Divide by 2.
Divide by positive 2. These 2's cancel to 1. Negative 2 over positive 2 is equal to negative 1. Great job. So after we distribute and simplify that distribution, we're going right back into what we've been doing. Okay? Nothing changes after that. It's the same exact procedure from the last 3 days. We're going to take a break on the new lessons tomorrow and play a little bit of Math-O here in class. So we're not going to take notes tomorrow. It's Friday. We will have a short quiz on this stuff. But we'll play Math-O before the quiz to review, okay? So, last example, example D, and then we'll get started here because we don't have as much time as we normally do. We got less than half an hour. Let's do example D. Let's do 3 times 3x minus 2 equals 12. I'm going to go ahead and split my equation right now so I don't forget. What's our first step going to be here in example D? Azalea, what's our first step?
Distribute.
We got to distribute the 3. I'm going to take a moment to make sure you guys are all caught up for a second. I feel like I'm going too fast. So.
No, it's
Oh, okay. I'll leave C there for you to copy. We're going to distribute this 3 to the negative 2 and to the 3x. So we'll have 3 times 3x minus 3 times 2. Remember, we want to keep that minus sign in the middle. Just put the number in the parentheses. If you were to keep the negative sign on the 2 in the parentheses, then we'd have to fill in a plus here. Then we'd have to combine the plus and the minus to a minus anyway, so you might as well just keep the minus sign in the middle. It'll save you 2 steps. Okay, let's simplify the right. 3 times 2, what's that going to be for a constant? 6, good. Now, what are we going to have over here? 3 times 3x. Exactly, it's going to be 9x. 9x. All we do is multiply the constant times the coefficient and put an x on the end. If we have 3 times 3x, right? That's like writing out 3x times 3x times 3x. How many x's is that in total? 3, 6, 9. 9 x's in total. So we just multiply the 2 numbers. You guys see what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have 9x minus 6 equals 12. Now we can start our inverse operations, right? We have a variable and a constant on the left, just a constant on the right. So what are we going to do first? Are we going to divide by 9 first?
No. Add 6.
No, we want to take care of the subtraction first, so let's add 6 to both sides. Those 6's cancel, leaving us with 9x equals what? 12 plus 6? 18. Final step is divide by 9. And that's going to give us 2, right? Let me finish my little lines here. X is equal to 2. 18 over 9 is just going to give us 2. You see what I mean when I say each day we're just sprinkling in one little new concept to what we've already been talking about? It's all the same work. We're just deepening our tool belt here with various skills.